successful leader anyway.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. And then just a question, Val. If you think about your career, was there a sort of one or two sort of magic moments that really set the path for your career, or sort of people that you met who were relationships? Could you share a bit of that, and if was there such a thing for you?
Magic moments. Yeah, probably a few that stick in your mind. You remember people who encouraged you, because I come from an era when actually it was, at the beginning of my career anyway, it was quite difficult to be promoted to a senior executive level if you were female. It was very, very unusual, and you could say it's still quite unusual now, but it was much more difficult when I started out. And I can still remember the people who encouraged me and said, no, you could do that, or why don't you try for that, or have you thought about doing so and so? And I think sometimes we underestimate as leaders the impact we can have on younger aspiring people. Just by one word of encouragement, you can transform somebody's career. So there were several moments like that. Lord Marshall, Colin Marshall, encouraged me when I was at British Airways. Probably only spoke to me about my career a couple of times, but when he did, it was memorable, and it really made a difference. Right. Yeah, so those sorts of things. I think in terms of magic moments, in terms of turning around a business or transforming it like we did at Bupa, I think that's a cumulative thing. It's something you do over a long period of time, and it's a painstaking thing. And sometimes, you know, you have an interview with a journalist and they say, oh, what was the key thing you did at Bupa? Well, we relentlessly focused on customers and putting customers first and meeting customers' needs, and that's what drove us. But in order to do that properly and not just pay lip service to it, it was several years of really graunchy, painstaking effort on a number of different projects and fronts to make it really work and for it to really make a difference for the company, to its bottom line, to its customer satisfaction. So it's hard to make it into a soundbite of, oh, we did this and it worked, you know.
But it's driving it over a multi-year period to and then the satisfaction of achieving it.
Yes, that's right. I think one thing that's seriously underestimated in business is just persistence.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes something that you really need to make work for your customers and your stakeholders, you need to pursue it over a long period of time. And sometimes that can be difficult because shareholders are not always patient. Yeah. And we were fortunate at Bupa because we didn't have any shareholders, and that meant we could follow through on a long-term strategy and really make it work.
Okay. I was thinking, is there anything else, Val, just from our conversations that you'd like to add? About, you know, broadly around leading or the future?
Yes, I think in the 21st century, which is what you've been writing about in terms of the views of CEOs and so on, I think it is going to become the number one issue for companies, is how to attract and retain people. And some companies think it's their number one issue already, but many don't. I mean, many think it's about delivering shareholder value and so on and so forth. But really, if you haven't got the right people, you can't do any of the other things. So I think the challenge is going to be the number one priority on the agenda for us all. And I think that means there'll be more of a requirement for trusted advisors and quality help and consultation to help us really do better in that war for talent.
No, I agree. And it's interesting, the CEOs that I come across, I think they now intellectually say talent, but it comes back to executing on it. But,
sometimes people say it, Steve, but then when you actually look at where they're spending the majority of their time and effort, they're not spending it on the people issues.
I agree.
And so, you know, there's a sort of contradiction there. So sometimes we need to, you know, really question, is it top of your agenda? Or is it something you pay lip service to because it sounds like the right thing to say? But actually, by your behaviour, you're not making it the top priority in your organisation. I think that's where, again, trusted advisors can help.
Yes. I think it's one of our challenges for the search industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.